So, welcome. This is the baby cat Sparrow account, which I just, because there had been a lot of demand, renamed to Dory Knowles. Hey, look, balloons. I don't think that was good, but I don't remember anymore, but Dory was awesome. And this is an introduction because I'm going to hand this account over to someone else. And I want to give some direction as to what I would do if I was to continue with this account. Now, it doesn't mean that the person needs to do that. You know, depending on where you want to go next, you could change strategy, but I think it's what's best. Well, number one is this was a farm just 2 weeks ago. I received this on the 20th of February. And it had been developed into a production hub predominantly, but neglected some main buildings, right? Hospitals and training centers were very much low level. Some of them still are, you know, I just started them here, but I've reworked this to be a main account again, which means it has decent production, but it also has facilities to support armies and army training. I've also worked on equipment. I've worked on getting the Hitman production up to the mansion level. This mansion is currently 25. Sorry, I've brought the family center up to 25, so we can get as many unique coins as possible in order to develop the account further. I've done everything I could so far on the family business. Next step, what I would recommend here, first of all, get as many family coins as you can through the slammer. Do the slammer every day. Do the slammer with the best attack settings that you could possibly get, and then develop the cheap areas first. You can develop things across the families because for some of those you don't need family reputation. Here, for example, shadow battles, you can do some things. Shadow members, you can do some things. I would get them all onto level 1 where I can, and some of them are really not that expensive. You know, this one costs 1,700 family gold, which you should get every day or two through the slammer and maybe some random stuff elsewhere. And you know, this gives you 1% biker defense, but it's across 4 families. So that's an extra 4%. Same for bulker, an extra 4%. And then later you can actually do a second level here for 1900, which means this doubles. So you get 8% bulker defense. 4%. No, you get 8% bulker defense across the 4 families, 8% biker defense, and so on. So this is what I would do with the family, and then I would work my way to other areas. Like the family battles here is something, this is actually even cheaper, but it only gives half a percentage. And I'll do this across all the families. And when I'm done with that, I would go back to my main family, which in this case is Cosa Nostra. So this is is it? Yeah. I think it is, but you can't hardly see because this isn't much developed anyway. And then I would develop that family and I would apply the same strategy, you know, cheap first. Don't develop your family members. This is to get T11s. It's ridiculously expensive and you need 1 million family gold to actually get to T11s on that single family. But it doesn't make a lot of sense if you've got T11s and shitty stats. So this is really something for the future, something not even to consider at the moment. Now, what I would be doing here next is I would especially work on equipment. I actually wanted to leave a gift behind and have the stats in a way so that you could get up to 100% in at least one value with buffs applied, but I couldn't because I ran out of checks and I've got no further means to get checks. I have some gems, which is nice. I've got some purple gems. I've got gem coupons that have been acquired over time. I could do still some synthesization. I would have some means with Morganite to start building the Kingpin equipment, but I just don't have checks, which actually means top priority on this account every day through the black market. Trade for checks, I usually spend even some gold to the level where it costs you 10 to get further. I've left some gold behind on this account, which I've accumulated by just chucking along. I haven't purchased anything here. Any kind of special things on this account have been purchased by someone else before, and we'll get to that in a second. And then I spend all my wine on checks, and then I use that to make equipment. I've started making the terrorizer equipment, the terrorizer suit. I've got it to blue, and I wanted to get it to at least purple, and then I wanted to apply a handful of emblems that I have, because as you can see here at the moment, they're all naked. They don't have any emblems on them. First of all, we don't have a lot of good emblems, and second of all is because they're not developed to a stage where I would want to apply them, because removing them, as we know, is fairly expensive. You need these emblem removal tools. You can buy them for gold, or much better, you can buy them for clan honor, but it's still not something you want to do on a regular basis. You want to develop things to a certain level, and then you want to do rework on emblems or synthesization of equipment or whatnot. So the plan for this is get this to purple, and we're close, because we actually have most of the equipment developed. We have another level 20 here for synthesization. We have a level 25 here, and here's another level 20, which we're actually currently wearing, just because it actually has some stats better than our normal equipment, but that's just temporary. We'll use it up anyway, and then we'll develop better normal equipment, because our normal equipment here is actually more of a builder's equipment. It doesn't have attack or defense stats. So, we'll get to this. We could do this if we had the checks. We don't have the checks, so that's why I say get checks, and work with them. We do have this actual builder's gear here, which is something that you needed to purchase in the beginning of the city, or in the beginning of the account. I think if you start a new account in any city, you can still buy this at a certain period of the game. It's actually not that good. It really helps you predominantly on in the early days. Some of the pieces have some production buffs, as you can see here: cargo production, arms production, cash production, which means until you have a kingpin set, you still use this as part of your growth set or your build set, but then it becomes obsolete, and then it's just sitting around there pretty much useless. Which means in some of my equipment sets, and I've prepared these here, in the build set, I use 3 of these pieces together with some normal equipment, and I think that's actually, and in the resources set, where I don't have any kingpin parts yet, so there's not a lot of extra that we can get here, but I'll make sure I've got Tidal Wave and the Godfather ring, so that we get the best when we do the shakedown. Remember, this equipment switch is very, very important to do for any type of action that you perform, especially when you're in a growth phase, which is what this account is. You have something around building, resource, investment, training, and then the battle is just because you want to get to your settings quickly to do the slammer. Let me just change this car to the best one we have at the moment. We're up to a new car soon. At the moment we're driving the Knight, which gives 4% attack and defense bonus. Very soon we'll be able to get DeLorean, which will give us an extra 2 attack and defense bonus, which is a nice upgrade, which we really need. And I've maximized the augmentation on my Godfather's knife, which is as good as it gets at the moment on this account. We just don't have the Godfather coins to go much further. It's a level 43 leader, so it can't actually wear the gun, almost, but not yet. Obviously, if I do anything related to attack, unless maybe it's just random street ops or something, I maximize this augmentation. And if I do the shakedown, as you remember, I revert this, I switch to the ring, I augment the ring to the maximum, then I do the shakedown. It makes quite a difference, because you know this has at the moment, so we know where are we? We just oops. This is as 8.5 plus 8.65 crew attack, right? And if we remove the augmentation, it only has 5.15, so it's like 3.5% less. So, and that, remember, crew attack goes across all your 4 crew types. So this is actually quite an essential thing, especially if you try to kill the highest level street ops that you can, and if you want to do the slammer and whatnot. So with these settings here, I now get to 75% on my bulk crew attack. That's why I said I was trying to get this to 100, but I didn't quite manage yet. And by 100 mean, you know, 80 plus 20, that would be the 120 is the buff that you can get. Then I would have done it through some emblems, and don't be disappointed, please, there's not a lot here. But I would have applied the 3 emblems in blue that I have that give something around bulker and biker, not vehicle or shooter, and I have those. I've got this biker bulker. What do I have here? This one I wouldn't have used, not at this stage, not for the first piece. I wouldn't have used this. Yeah, 8% biker for sure. And I think there's one more. Wasn't there one more? I was hunting 5 blue ones. I thought I had seen another one that gives biker vehicle, and these ones here are you know, for resources, so I wouldn't use them on my attack here. So I probably would have just applied these 2 and then would try to get something else on blue. Green removal tools are actually fairly cheap. They're the cheapest ones, obviously. So maybe, you know, if you're desperate, you apply another one. Otherwise, try to get more emblems. How to get more emblems, right? Grind Reapers. This account can attack level 1 and level 2 Reapers. I usually only do level 1, so I can send out more ops at the same time. Today is the special mercenary day, which means all drops are duplicated on emblems or on any other special items. So I would use some, if I have the time. Remember, I manage a lot of accounts. If I have the time, I would attack some Reapers. It still takes a long time to get good emblems in order to be able to actually synthesize them up, but it's a game of time, right? You got to do it. Got to keep following through and trying to get as much as possible with time. What I'm doing at the moment here is I'm attacking street ops. One of the key things to remember here, hey Coco, this is a growth phase account, which means it's got an SVIP level here, which is still not very high. It's good, but you know, in order to make best use of all the skills, you need SVIP level 6. This is close to 3, which means you need to grind street ops as many as possible in order to get more SVIP points, and you want to go to SVIP 6, which is still way to go, but actually doesn't take that long if you follow through with this strategy, because what it gives you on the next level is switchable skill sets +1, which is actually a fuck you feature in my opinion, because it costs you 2,000 gold to switch skill sets, but only 1,000 to reset the skill set. So why do you need one more skill set temporarily in order to spend more gold? That is so rare, right? That makes sense. So you go to SVIP level 6, and with SVIP level 6 you have the 3 skill sets that you need. One for attack, one for support, one for growth, and you can switch them for free. You really want to get here as quickly as possible, because only then you have a chance to maximize this. So until you reach that, I would not participate in any hostile activities other than maybe reinforcing clan members, because you could only either spend a lot of gold to switch skill sets or to reset skills, which doesn't make sense, or you just go to battle with your growth, which also doesn't make sense in my opinion. So save your gold, use it for better things, especially buying roses. Buying roses for, depending on how urgent you want to develop your babes, buying roses for anything that's below 80. At least buy them for 40 and 160. It's the best thing that you can do with gold at this stage, in my opinion, of this account. And I'm just going to send out some ops. If you attack street ops, don't use your normal attack car. Use the Blue Devil. I know it doubles the energy costs, but it increases your attack on street ops, which you really want, because you want to attack the highest ones as possible to get your SVIP points. And actually, it also increases the reward, and it actually doubles them, which effectively just means you need to attack less ops. Less ops to get the points that you want, and obviously that's essential, because you basically need to be online less, which is hard on this game. But anyway, at the moment I can do we go 24 or 25. It's they're not all available because I've already tried killing them. And sorry to go fast here. They give you, if this doubles and this works, as in if they drop, this one actually gives you 800 VIP points, which is decent. So do this and get VIP points from elsewhere until you have your SVIP 6. It's really a top priority. Then when you have the checks, and let's go back to the equipment, develop the second terrorizer set piece that I would use, which is the only terrorizer suit and trousers make sense. Make this, remember, turn everything to white, change this to 1, use 1 topaz, which I already have here, and then make this, and then create the 25 white, synthesize 25 green, and so on until you are at gold. Don't augment your normal equipment. I've had no augmentations here. If I had had any, I would have reverted them. Use them only for your Godfather up and down augmentation, and only augment gold pieces or maybe orange pieces if you're desperate for some percentages, because it's really, really expensive to get them removed, right? You need to go to the store and buy these augmentation cancellers and look at, if you augment an orange piece, you need a gold augmentation canceller, which costs you 5,000 gold, and we all know how long you need to save up if you don't spend money on the game to get these. So you don't want to do this very often, ideally never. So save yourself the trouble. The 1, 2, 3, 4% are probably not worth the 5,000 gold to spend that on. Now, how to develop this further? I'm getting close, and this is also something I wanted to leave behind, but I will not be able to mention 26. And in hindsight, I actually think you may not want to rush this, just because when you are hitting 26 in this city, higher level mansions can attack you. At the moment, you can only be attacked by anything up to level 30. When you hit 26, elite mansions can attack you. It doesn't really matter so much because you shouldn't be planning to get attacked, but just in case, what you should be doing here is you should be continuing to upgrade resource production. I've got the cargo up to the mansion level, which is 25. I only have one cash production, which makes sense because you run a deficit anyway at any time. So you don't need to produce more, it makes no sense. Get all the safe cash you can from other things. Actually, when you're at the smuggler, always buy the cash if you can. Even now, where I'm really cash heavy here on this account, do it, because you'll regret it later when you've spent all this surplus cash on things. You know, continue collecting more cargo and whatnot, but buy the cash, buy the cash, buy the cash, always buy the cash. What this account needs in order to develop is cargo. I've basically left it bare because I was just doing some more building upgrades. I'm developing wall 25 at the moment, and I'm also doing the club 25. So theoretically after this, and I've got all the arms because I had optional resource chests that I turned into arms. Theoretically, you can now just get cargo, and then upgrade your mansion if you want. However, the training facilities haven't been increased to the levels that they should in order to actually support this, which means you may just want to develop them up to 25, and afterwards you upgrade your mansion to 26, and then you just need to lift them one more level in order to be then able to train your T9s, which gets you into a decent position to start participating in more activities and getting better at doing the slammer and you know, city tournament and whatnot. All right, here we were, 600 points, some dirty money. KE is coming up. You got a lot of 8-hour truth bubbles, which were accumulated while this was a farm. And you've got some gold to buy long-term truce bubbles. I wouldn't do that. I would leave this account unbubbled, and I would save my troops in someone else's bubble or in the clan tower. At the moment, the clan tower, you know, here you can send them to the tower here. At the moment, it's still illegal to attack towers. This might change in the future. So it's a debate that some players that came to this city are arguing that, you know, it's cheating if you can't attack towers, but then people move them to the towers, the other troops, and you can leave your mansion empty. And okay, it's debatable, but at the same time, you're not allowed to attack cars which are in the clan territory. So if I can't put them in the towers anymore, I could just move them here, and then it's the same effect. So what's the point of removing this rule? I don't get it. But you know, anyway, if they want it, we can discuss it, and then we'll see what comes out of it. So that's the bit that I would be doing on turf development. Obviously, with regards to the Hitman agency, this is still early-ish stages, and early-ish stages means, and this is poor, but it is what it is. The stats of the account are not bad for an account that was just recently converted from a farm back to a player. But what you do is you just develop this development services to save Hitman coins to the maximum. So you go through the 10 levels here in order to spend less Hitman coins on anything, because it's the thing that's very rare in this game. And then you should probably consider developing the development services and the investment services, because they cost you less resources and they help you to build faster. You don't really need the building speed, if I'm honest, because your biggest problem is resources, unless you have farms. But you'll have to go through it anyway in order to get to the savings bit. And then also in parallel, you can do a little bit here because they are relatively quick to develop. And remember, this account is still in a phase where it would benefit from this because it's at 25. So if you are developing this you're actually still saving resources on building better resource production and so on. So, this is also worth doing a little bit, but finish this first, don't touch anything else. And then when this is done, you should go for a bit of jam speed up, and potentially even check trade, depending on where you are with your equipment development, because as I said, you need a lot of checks to do this synthesization strategy, but it's definitely worth it. And then when you've done that and you're happy with how that goes, you could start spending something on battle. Get your, again, same strategy as family, cheap first, because Hitman coins are rare. And once you've upgraded your mansion, always do your hotels first and your family center to the next level. I know it's tempting not to, but you should, because this is one of the major bottlenecks of the game. Then do cargo first to 26, and then do some other things, of course you do your diner and so on to get larger ops and that kind of stuff. And I think the second last bit, on the plantation store. Now this account has some special ops, vigilantes that were purchased at some point by someone. You can't get Natalie without spending money, for example, and you can't get Sir Takamaro easily, and so on. So they're not highly developed, but they give some decent buffs on your crew. That's why this account actually has okay stats also. But you need fragments to get fragments in the weekly Clan HQ development. So I haven't received a lot because I've not put money into this account. So then makes it even harder to get the free fragments. At the moment there is this coin event on, which gives you 5 blue fragments for every coin that you get. And if you complete the daily missions, which I already have on this account today, you get all these coins, these tokens, and then for the tokens you get fragments. That helps on these weekly quests for an account at this level. And actually, funny thing is, when you get these fragments, they actually also count towards developing the weekly points. So when you get to this stage, which you will, because you still get enough of these tokens, you will get another 100, and then it's 100 times 3, which will get you another 300 points. But you'll probably not be able to get to the point where you will get the 200 Bruce fragments, because I think you actually need a total of 2,000 weekly personal points, which, unless you're lucky somewhere and get some fragments that fall from the sky, from the lottery or something, literally, it's going to be tough. Because this is the reason is the plantation isn't developed enough to buy fragments here. You need the store up to the next level here. This is a bit hard to scroll to, and then you'll be able to buy the Adriana fragments, and then you do that every day. That gives you 100 fragments every day, which also gives you 100 points on this HQ fragment thing. So that times 7 is 700 fragments, and that already guarantees you the first 2 levels, and then you've got a much better chance to get to the 2,000 that you need. Then later it actually becomes really easy, even if you don't spend money, because at a later stage you are able to also buy Catalina fragments, which then means you actually get 200 fragments every day through the plantation. Times 7 is 1,400. And then it almost solves itself, because you then get the 30 fragments here and the 100. So that's 130 times 3, that's 420. So you add 1,820 points. So you really just need a little bit of luck somewhere, and there's usually always some event going on that gives you some fragments to get to the 2,000. Then you're safe on at least getting these 330 30 fragments every week, which is your main source of fragments unless you spend money on the game, or you participate in activities that give you fragments, of which there are not so many. And let me think if I've forgotten something. Yeah, I've always forgotten something. Sorry for my long videos, babes. So this account has a lot to do on babes, so give them some TLC. None of the babes is at level 5. Some babes aren't even gamed up, only to like the most essential things that you would do when you have a farm, which is, you know, you get this to all the production buffs. You get, I think, this one here up to, what is it, healing center or something, I don't even remember, doesn't matter. But of course you want to get them all up to 5 stars as quickly as possible. This account doesn't have any special babes yet. The first special babe that you'll get is either Marie. Let me see if I've got any fragments here. No, I don't yet. I do have some vigilante fragments, which actually doesn't look so bad, right? But they're not enough to develop any of it further. Bruce will be the next to get the bulker training speed, but the bulker training speed isn't that powerful. You want the 20% bulker defense. And actually Nick isn't so bad either, because this is going to be your first active vigilante, which means when you get some advanced fragments, get your 230 Nick fragments in order to get the 20%, and then use him on your ops when you attack or when you do the slammer. That's your 20%. Then you'll actually be above 100 after you've done the equipment bit, even without buffs. So, you know, then we start talking. It's going to get interesting. Yeah, give your babes some TLC. Every time you come to your turf, check if there's something that you can buy here, which means always exchange the cash and cargo production boosts for the roses, and then buy the cheap roses for gold, and then buy your gifts. Oops, I have to send this away. Buy your gifts and then upgrade them, and then use your cards on the cheap first level upgrades. By cards I mean these jewelry cards or something, which are also pretty rare, right? So I've done this here for biker and bulker attack. The next one would cost a lot more. I don't do these. You do these when you've got all the others on levels that you're happy with, which is the first one. Don't do defense weapons. You don't intend to get attacked. Don't do upgrades on vehicles because they're shit. It's like the last thing to do in the world. But do everything on bulker and biker. Maybe do it, you know, I did this one for one level because it was cheap. I'm not going to do another one, even though I could afford it now. What do I need crew training capacity for, really? I mean, at the moment the facilities are busy for about 10 to 12 hours. So if I do it in the morning and then I do it before I go to bed, then I have them busy. And it will only get more because you'll get extensions from other things. And then it developed these babes so you can get the cheap skill upgrades and do the bulker and biker ones. And then, Jesus, you really want me to help you, right? Okay, let me help you. Let me send me some of these guys. Okay, I'll leave it here. Have fun with Dory. If you've got questions, reach out. I'm happy to help. Collect cargo and you know, upgrade your training facilities, do some good work, and have fun with this account. Bye.